Hi, I'm Maddie, and this is Let's Get Trashy. This week, we're getting trashy about where I've been. I have been gone since April. I think when I actually looked at the last time I downloaded, it was like April 16th, April 12th, something like that. So, like, a little bit of time has passed since the last time I posted, just a little bit. And life has been fucking wild. Wild. Like in a good way for most of it, but also like not in a good way for some of it. Also the set clearly looks a little bit different. I swear I'm not going to change it every single time I record, or I want to say that I'm not going to change it every time I record, but dude, I don't know. I'm like, I want a new desk, so I bought a new desk, and then I still didn't record. I was like, I no longer wanted the thing that dangled, and then I still wanted the crafts on it, but my hand broke, and now it's just a middle finger. And like, while I respect that, like, yes, like, fuck, dude, like, healing is rough. Little vulgar for my taste, so we're just gonna like glue her back on eventually when I go finally get super glue. But I wanted to record today, so she's not a part of it. She will be next time when she's all better. Bonesy's still here. You know, he's still wearing the OG merch that's never gonna come out ever. Just, you know, so you remember the name, Let's Get Trashy. And we're getting trashy today, guys, because I have been gone. You know, I want to say that I've been rejuvenated, that like I'm new, things are coming and going, but really I have just realized how non-linear your healing journey is. So I'll start back in April when I didn't record and I kind of stopped recording. My husband and I don't want to say we went through a rough patch, but I didn't see that he was struggling with his mental health, and I thought it was just his way of lashing out and being rude and just being like not nice to me. But it was really his way of saying like, dude, I'm not okay, please help me. And I know it's such like a stereotypical macho, like, I don't know how to reach out, so I'm gonna be a jackass. And truthfully, that's the whole fucking point of healing, guys, is like getting rid of those century-long like stereotypes where, you know, you don't have to reach out like that. Like, now we communicate better because he knows that I'm not gonna judge him and I'm gonna hear him. And to be honest with you, now I know what to look at. Like, I know what behavior means what, and I like read a couple books that kind of help out with that too. But like, yeah, we weren't in a good place, and I decided that in that moment it was easier to isolate than to be real and like explain my struggles, and that everybody goes through things, and like sometimes life is hard. I'm aware that that is the healthiest thing to do, and that like whenever you're in a moment of like need, you should definitely isolate. And I use that with full sarcasm because I don't want someone to go out and isolate and be like, well, that's what she said. That's what she said. But no, like I did the exact opposite, and that's why I say healing is nonlinear, because there's going to be times where it's like you're doing so well, you're doing so great, you know your coping skills, and then all of a sudden you're like, dude, F this, I don't want to use my coping skills. Like, I don't know how to actively use it. Like, I know how to use my coping skills when it's like a small anxiety attack, but how do you use them when they're literally it's a wave washing over your body? Like, how do you square breathe when you feel like you can't even breathe? Like, so that's one part of like healing, is like learning to use these tools that work when you're like not in maximum panic, not in maximum, you know, pain. Like learning how to use them in that max mode where it's like, oh my god, I'm bottom, like I've hit it, it's rough, how do I use them, you know? So that was something I kind of had to learn, you know. I even like tried to talk to my therapist about it, and it's like, I don't know if it's really, like, I do know, to be honest with you. I know that it's because growing up I had like a horrible history with therapists. My dad used to manipulate me into saying like certain things so that they would think certain things about him and certain things about my mom, and then he would go and talk to them. And like, I've said this before, you guys know this, like, he was just a terrible person, and he would just make sure that he didn't look crazy. And when people started to think that, oh, oh, he's the problem, like, I wouldn't go to therapy anymore. So, and then it's like I have other trust issues because once I finally could trust a therapist, she like decided to tell someone outside of HIPAA. So it's just like crazy trust issues with therapy. But like I also know that if I only sit in here and try to heal myself, I'm just going to keep doing circles and repeating cycles. And so I reached out, and so I'm still learning like how to healthily communicate with her, and I'm still learning how to do better, be better. But it's just one of those things where it's like it was just a shock. Like, healing is a non-linear cycle. Like, it not even a cycle, like that's the whole point of we're breaking cycles, is but it's like non-linear. Like, that's the point of it, is like you will have ups, you will have downs forever. When you're in the downs, they should be less. They should be less often. They should be less painful. And it shouldn't be that hard, but it'll always be hard. Like, I don't ever want to minimalize my pain or your pain, because the amount of pain compared to someone else's pain, your trauma compared to someone else's trauma, doesn't take away from yours. Like, that's one thing I think I've read is like stereotypical, like people with trauma would be like, well, at least it wasn't like this, or like at least it wasn't this. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that. You went through that. It doesn't have to be, well, they had it worse. Oh, they had it worse than I did. So what? Like, not so what in like a disrespectful way, but like acknowledge your pain. Like, it's okay to sit right where you're at. Like, that's okay. So what if someone else had it rough than you? It's still okay to feel your pain. That's my take on it. And of course I don't mean it in like a disrespectful way. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a way like validate your emotions and your feelings and how you felt in a moment, how you were raised, the trauma of your life. And don't compare it to others, because that's so easy to do. To be honest with you, I don't even know how I got on that rant, so we're going to circle back here. Another big thing that happened since April is my kids and I, we catch like every single cold ever. I mean, my son's a COVID baby, so like he didn't get to go outside at all during COVID, because for his first year of life, we were isolated. So like I really do blame that for like him not having an immune system. Because, I mean, we're slowly growing one, like, we're getting sick less. We've all started taking probiotics, like, things like that. But, like, at one point, we all had pink eye, except for my husband, who never gets sick. And if he does, worst man flu you'll ever see in your life. I'm dying. I can't do this. Takes all the meds in the world, so he's, like, freaking numb and asleep and just, like, doesn't feel his sickness. Meanwhile, I'm, like, crusty pink eye. Did you know that when adults get pink eye, they also can get strep throat? I don't even have tonsils. I got strep throat. Because it's like weirdly all connected. So like because you're an adult, pink eye is more serious. It's kind of like when adults get chickenpox, it's more serious than if a child gets chickenpox. I don't know. Maybe it's the age, because they're fucking resilient and they can literally go through anything and be fine. So that was probably part of it. Like, the crunchy eye me probably didn't want to be recorded, because I gotta tell you guys, I didn't look good. But also, pink eye is incredibly contagious. Like, I had to sanitize the whole house. Did you know that they make sanitizer detergent? Yep, they do. Had to sanitize all of the bedding. All of it. And because the kids sleep in my bed, and because I had pink eye, I had to sanitize my bed several times. Which I don't want to officially say, like, the sanitizer, like, changes the color of your sheets, because it probably doesn't. It's probably the fact that I had to wash them so many times. But, like, they used to be, like, a nice bright gray, which I know you're like, that don't make any sense. But it was like a nice bright gray. Now they a little softer gray. They ain't as cute as they once were. My kids' bedding, had to wash that several times. It got to the point with pink eye that I just had the kids and I sleeping on sleeping bags, because you know how much easier it is to clean a sleeping bag? So much easier. Sleeping bags and pillowcases, that's easy. I had to do all the surfaces. Like, you know how they said, like, sanitize your stuff during COVID? I had to do that during during pink eye. Like, things that, like, you don't think about that you touch, I had to sanitize. I just at one point, I think I went like this around the whole house just to sanitize everything. All the toys. Had to sanitize all the toys. Like, ugh. I know this isn't related to, like, your healing journey, but this is where I was. This is what my life was for a while. And so we pink eye. I walked into the emergency room because I knew that I was going to have to wait weeks for this appointment. So I just went into the emergency room with both the kids and I was like, we are all here. We're all here. They both have pink eye. I have pink eye. And something's going on with my throat. Strep throat. It's fine. I did not go through a week worth of ice cream and Jell-O as a kid to get strep throat as an adult when I got my tonsils removed, but that's fine. I'm over it, clearly. But it was a pain in the ass. Like, we sat in the emergency room. Well, first they took us from the emergency section to the minor section because fair enough, we weren't dying. And the lady first, like, she looks in my son's ears. This lady looks in my son's ears and decides, like, oh yeah, he definitely has 2 ear infections. Like, both ears are infected, so he's not going to get the drops. And I think he might have been too little for the drops too. So they gave him amoxicillin. And so he had to take that for the pink eye and the ears. Me and Chloe, my daughter, were not fortunate enough to get the amoxicillin. We had to do the drops. And I can handle drops. I'm an adult. You know, I had to put red eye drops in every day before school because, you know, your girl was token. You know, like, I'm used to eye drops. I didn't have, like, I know how to hold still. Fighting a 4-year-old to put eye drops in, I think it was 3 times a day. No, it was 4 times a day. It was 3 times a day. 3 times a day. I mean, this isn't like a proud mom moment, but at one point I told her that if we didn't put these eye drops in, her eyes would fall out. Not proud of it, but she put her eye drops in the rest of the week. So, like, it worked. I'll tell her when she's older that wasn't, you know, true. But, she's all right now. But we're all good now. And then after pink eye, we all got the flu. I'm not even kidding you. It was a week. It was like 2 good weeks. Pink eye, flu. So then we all get the flu. And we're all going through the motions of the flu. And I can handle doing, like, Instagram, some TikTok things with the flu. Because doing this is easy. I just did a dance move if you're only listening to audio. Is easy when you have the flu. Because nobody can tell this is messed up. We all had the flu. And then my husband left. Alex leaves for 6 weeks. And my husband has left a bunch before this. That's just his job. Like, that's just how it is. And he leaves for a while, extended periods of time, and he's gone. And we get through it, and we do it. I mean, the last time he truly left, I had Chloe, who was 3, or turned 3 while he was gone. And Cam was 6 weeks when he left, and 6 months old when he returned. So, like, I had a newborn and a toddler. And that time, I had a newborn, I had a toddler, I was going to college, and it was COVID. Like, all of these things were easier than the last 6 weeks, like, when he was at school. And I know that sounds terrible, but have you ever had burnout? Did you know that when you have burnout, even if you were actively working on getting rid of burnout, it can take 3 to 5 years to release all of the effects of burnout? Yeah. So I've been burnt out since COVID because during, like, that period where I said it was easy, I was in survival mode. Like, I got up, I had a schedule with the kids, I got up, I did the things that I needed to do. Like, I knew how to do homework, like, without getting frustrated because I had figured out a plan. You know, like, I would be tired some days, but it was like, I'm okay, I'll be fine. You know, I was in pure survival mode. And why wouldn't I have been? I lived there my whole teenage childhood years. And so I went into survival mode. So that's probably why that time was easier. This last time, I don't know, my body was not catching the hint to just survive. She was, but she was barely hanging on. And it was just rough because it was like, again, anytime that I would like get ready to go to my mother's, get ready to go on an outing, go hang out with a friend, things like that, it would be like, I can't, my kids are sick. So we started the probiotic, which I always thought was like kind of bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm one of those people that it's like you grow an immune system. It was not itching my butt. It's gonna look like I itched my butt. I'm one of those people that clearly it's been a while since I've been in front of the camera and I have no social manners anymore. But like, as far as immune systems went, I was always one of those people that it was like, you grow it from interacting with people, like natural germs, like why, like high school I would have colds, but they would never be that serious. And it was just one of those things where it's like, you get it from being around people. You know, you have this like immunity built up because others help you build your immunity. But for whatever reason, me and my kids, we just could not build that immunity since COVID. Even though, like, to be truly honest, like, since COVID, we don't go out as much as, like, we did before. Like, we go out often, but I will make, like, Target trips once a month. I'll make Walmart trips if I'm grocery shopping every 2 weeks. Like, during COVID is when I started that, where it was, like, I didn't grocery shop once a week anymore. I grocery shopped every 2 weeks. At some points, I was doing grocery pickup. So, and I still do all of those things. So it's kind of like, I can see why we're not growing it back as fast. Like, we're still not going out in public as much. Just kind of still not isolating, but there's never going back before COVID. You know what I mean? Like, there's no before COVID anymore. Like, before COVID was, oh, I went to Target 3 times in a week. You know, like, that wasn't normal, and I am sorry for my husband's wallet, but, like, now I don't do that anymore. Like, so there's never going back to that. It's just kind of after, clearly. AC, BC, AC. And, it's just one of those things where it's like, because of that, we all had really weak immune systems, so we would catch a cold. So it was like, as soon as I was getting ready to go to my mom's, all of our eyes got crusty again. Well, all the kids' eyes got crusty. Mine didn't, so I assumed we all had pink eye again. But it was weird. It was like my kids had the flu, but because they're so little, like even Cam, he's only 2, he would blow his nose, and he doesn't know how to blow his nose, so it's like, the doctor was like, it just comes out because it has nowhere else to go because it's like all connected. But I thought it was pink eye, so I would cancel plans. So like even the little things that I would normally do to keep me sane weren't possible anymore. So it was just a hard time. It was just rough. So that was probably why it was rougher, is because during COVID, during a newborn, during a toddler, during my husband being gone, during college, like, I could still go see his family. They could still help me. But it was like, I couldn't even see my family for this short 6-week period because of how often the kids were sick, or like things were just happening. And it was just like, on top of like my husband not communicating before he left. I really think, to be honest with you, only being able to talk through text and like being on the phone, something about that makes you more vulnerable. I don't know if that's for everyone, but for us, it made us more vulnerable, so we were able to have deeper conversations and connect more. So I think that 6-week period, as far as, like, our friendship, our marriage, like, us, me and him together, best thing. We were able to have, like, real talks where it was like, dude, you were a fucking jackass. And he could be like, well, he would never call me a bitch, because, like, I'm perfect. Clearly I'm being sarcastic, but like, just so everyone knows I'm being sarcastic. But we would have real talks. Like, this is not how I want you to handle this in the future. I still truly believe like that you should go and talk to someone. I am talking to someone. I'm in therapy. Like, I don't know. So it was good for our marriage. And then, you know, working with my therapist, like, obviously I explained how I got all those trust issues earlier. Like, working with my therapist, I am slowly opening up. but it takes time, especially because I don't have that trust like I should, or like I used to with therapists, like, which is fair. Like, with my trauma, that's fair. So I'm working on that. You know, I have to, like, express more that, like, I am stressed, which you're in therapy. Shouldn't you know you're stressed? I downplayed my stress so much. Like, I finally admitted to my mom, literally, like, 2 weeks ago, that I think I am more stressed than I ever think I'm stressed. And it was really because of this incident that happened where I, like, was in therapy and my left eye, like, cut off peripherals, and, like, staring at her was, like, very weird. Like, I remember just, like, staring at her face, like, dude, her face looked so weird. So weird. And it was like I could go like this, but I couldn't see my hand. I was driving home. I know. I shouldn't have drove. Thank you. I made it safe. No one was hurt. I won't ever do it again because I know that I shouldn't have been driving, but I just wanted to get home. And I was sitting on the steering wheel, and I would do this with my thumbs. I'm wiggling them if you're listening to audio. I'm putting them on top of the steering wheel and wiggling them. And I would do this with my thumbs, and I couldn't see my left thumb until probably halfway home from driving. I thought I was having a stroke. I Googled the symptoms. It wasn't stroke, and it's actually really related to stress. I do have a doctor's appointment because, like, that freaked me out. And then I spent the rest of the day with, like, a horrible migraine. Really did think I was having a stroke because those are both stroke symptoms, but there's also a whole other slew of symptoms you're supposed to have if you're having a stroke. So I have an appointment because, yeah, I know. I'm aware. That doesn't sound good. I needed help. And I didn't even tell my therapist that this was going on. So next time I go and I can finally, like, open up to her. Guys, my headphone was just on my shorts, and I have seen spiders and all kinds of bugs today, and I almost lost it because I thought it was a spider. So I apologize for that. No, next time I go, I will explain to her, like, I think I downplay my stress. Like, I don't think that I have reason to feel these emotions, so I invalidate them as soon as they happen. So I kind of need some tools on that one. Even though, like, I know deep in my soul, like, all of my emotions are valid. The reason I am the way that I am is trauma. Like, you have a basic conversation with someone and you find out something small about their life and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, for me, and my mom pointed this one out to me because, you know, sometimes you just don't see it. Sometimes, and this is why I need a therapist, because just sitting in here wanting to break the cycle was not going to be enough. Because sometimes you need someone else to tell you what's going on and why you're doing the things that you're doing. But on, like, with that, you know, you talk to someone, you find out, like, why. My husband, perfect example. He grew up in a house that had roaches. So now every time he gets a cup of water, even if I've washed it with all the care and love in the world and the most soap, he'll still rinse it out because he's used to that. He grew up with that in his home, and that's such a small thing that we've been married for 8 years. He still does it. So it's just, trauma makes you who you are. And one of the smallest things for me is I don't like to take any pills, like any medicine. Like, I have a headache. That day I had that migraine, I took a Tylenol. But, like, I won't take a Tylenol. I won't take an Advil. My anxiety won't let me do it. What if I take it and my blood thins so much I die? I'm aware. Like, you don't have to comment, oh, she's crazy. Like, I know. So, like, I don't take pills. And my mom was like, I think you don't take pills because for a very long time you were not on the right ones. Like, as far as, like, medications for, like, depression, anxiety, and different disorders that I was diagnosed with that I don't have. And shouldn't have been diagnosed with as a 16-year-old, and it should have been clearly seen as a trauma response. But that's why we're here, baby, because sometimes you're not heard when you're that age and you need someone to hear you. So it's just this whole thing. Like, I don't take meds most likely because of this reason, because in my anxiety, like, I don't want to take the wrong one anymore and be hurt. I remember taking meds that were wrong for me and, like, sitting there and hearing my mom talk, but being so lost in the sauce in my head. Like, I'm talking more lost in the sauce than if you smoked like a blunt after a blunt after a blunt. Like, you know what I mean? Like stoned. Like greened out, which I didn't know that was a real thing. I just thought like, damn, I get way too high sometimes. But like, really, like stoned. Like, gotta lay down, take a nap, sleep this one off. Maybe I might wake up high. You know what I'm saying? So like, I remember sitting there like talking with my mom on this med and like being like, dude, like I am lost, you know? So that's probably a big fear is I don't want to be lost in that sauce no more. Probably why I got sober too. Really. And so, you know, trauma shapes you and it makes you who you are. And I really have to like open up to my therapist so that I can unshape this bitch because she is something else. And I use she in third person because whatever, my trauma response isn't like, I want to identify with that. But like, yeah, I need to work on myself. I have a lot of issues and that's why I chose therapy and that's why I worked past my fear of, you know, therapy and talking with someone, and I started reading books and I started consciously seeing the cycle that was like being repeated. And yeah, so that's why I started doing that. That's why I started this whole journey, was because I know that I am not alone when I say that I see the generational cycle. Excuse me. I see the generational cycle. I see how repeated behaviors have played out. I see the different versions of myself that I could be. Like, I know that I'm not alone in that, and I felt really alone at first, and I don't want you guys to ever feel alone when you start your healing journey or wherever you're at on your healing journey, because sometimes life is a bitch and healing is non-linear, and you get hit in the gut. We went on vacation during this whole, I guess I'm going to say hiatus. We went on vacation and I don't know if like in my mind I was like, I am going to pretend like I'm fine for this 1 week. I have no anxiety. Like I'm good. Like, well, I said I don't know, but that was my plan. Like I am a normal fucking human being to this full week of vacation. I apologize if the video angle looks a little wonky. My battery decided to die, even though it was at 100%, which is so weird. I don't understand. Anyways, apologize. Video angle might have changed a little bit. I don't really think it did, but, you know, just in case someone notices the micro change. But yes, so I went on vacation. Sorry, just gonna jump back in. Went on vacation and decided, like, okay, I'm going to be normal for this week. Like, nothing's wrong with me. I'm going to have fun. This is going to be a great time. I'm with my family. I'm with my in-laws, but at this point, they are my family. Like, we're going to have a good time. This is going to be fun. This is going to be good. Day 3, my anxiety decides to remind me that we are not okay. And I am, in fact, the most anxious person in the world. And if we don't walk away from everyone in this exact moment, we're gonna die. She's so fun to live with. Anxiety is really fun. And I'm sitting there like trying to tell my brain, because clearly anxiety is like you in your brain telling you like you're not okay. And I use third person. That's my way of coping with it. No, it's not. I don't hear another voice. Like, it's me. I know. I'm aware. It's there. It's me. And my anxiety clearly talks to me in this way. Oh my god, I have to quit sounding so crazy. My anxiety is me. So my anxiety and I decide we need a minute. And I'm sitting in there and I just feel like run over me in this wave of like not destruction, but it's almost like a deja vu of like, we've been here before, you're not gonna be okay, like whatever. It just keeps going over me in waves where it's like, okay, I'm calm, I'm okay. I know that I'm in a safe place with family and I'm having a good time and I'm going to go down to the lake and I'm going to go swim. And then it whooshes over me again and it's like, I'm not okay, I'm dying, I can't breathe. Is my heart beating fast? Wow, that is beating really fast. Like maybe if my heart beats too fast, it'll explode and I'll die. So yes, I'm aware that my anxiety sounds a little bit like OCD too. It is. But it's like, it just keeps washing over me in waves. I'm talking to my mom, who also has dealt with anxiety, so she knows like how to calm me down in a way that's not like, just chill out, bitch. You know, like it's like she'll just talk. Like, are you okay? Yeah, I know I'm okay. I'm fine. There's nothing going on. What triggered it? Nothing. I was eating. What were you eating? And then I'll explain what I had for breakfast. Well, what did you have for dinner? And it's like she carries it on in a way that it's not making me feel bad for having this anxiety attack, and I'm able to get past it. But for whatever reason, this one just kept whooshing over me in like waves. My mom would be like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm starting to feel better. I'm okay." Whew, she's coming back. And so my mom goes, "Well, why don't you have Alex bring you like a juice?" So he brings me a juice. I drink the juice, I take a warm bath, and like I'm okay. And I don't ever have an anxiety attack on vacation that's that bad. But, you know, I do still have the anxious moments where I'm like, I'm okay, like I'm fine, like you're safe, like you're good, like I understand you don't feel right, but you're okay, let's get it together, it's vacation. We can handle this another time, you know? Like this is not the moment to feel anxious. And the more I started to realize, the more gentle I was with this anxiety of like, I'm okay, I am safe, look around you, square breathe. Like use those tools. It would go away faster. Instead of when I was in this wave where it's like, Mom just won't leave, I need to get things done, I need to go be with my kids, like it just won't go away. Like the more gentle you are with yourself, and the more gentle I was with myself during these anxiety attacks, it made it go away faster. So I learned that like just being more gentle with myself when I'm in these moments, rather than being like, why are you acting like this? You know? Why are you being ridiculous? Why are you acting stupid? Clearly that's been said to me at one point. But taking it back and like, you're fine. Like, I understand why you're feeling like this. Like, take a breath. Take a breath. You're okay. Also, I didn't know this, which is kind of stupid. I guess I should have. Drinking makes your anxiety so bad. So bad. So, you know, the day before this horrible wave-washing anxiety attack, your girl day drank all day long. She had a beer in her hand. I started out with mimosas at 10. I'm going to be nicer to myself. I'm going to say I started out with my mimosa at noon. And drank the rest of the day. Not mimosas, beer, just kind of, you know, had a good day at the lake. Beer, cigarettes, because you know what sounds good when you're drinking? A stogie. Yep, no, it's disgusting. I don't do it. I don't do it without drinking unless I'm like in a highly stressful situation. And then even then, like I try not to. Like I did pretty good for a year. I only smoked when I drank. Like I had really, really cut back. And I don't know. This last summer, really, since May, I started smoking a little bit more. And I've already decided, like, I'm done. I haven't smoked since vacation. But, yeah, drinking, smoking, having a good old time on vacation because I'm on vacay, baby. And then the next day, my body, like, sends me into a reality check of, like, but are you okay, though? Because you decided not to take your anxiety meds anymore. You have only seen your therapist in the last 6 weeks, which I also think is the reason that time my husband was away was so hard, because I wasn't able to go to therapy. And it wasn't that I wasn't able to go. It was that I canceled one appointment because I wasn't able to make that appointment. And then my therapist went on vacation, which she deserves to. She's a person. And then by the time she got back, Alex was home. So it was like I didn't have therapy this whole time to like honestly escape from my kids, because I love them so much, but we need a break when things get rough. And I'm not saying when the going gets tough, get going. I'm saying that when the going gets tough for a week on end and you want an hour to yourself, but nobody goes to bed on time and you don't really get any time alone, yeah, therapy's great. It's amazing. You just sit there. I get to dress like an adult. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, while Alex was gone, I had no reason to do my makeup. I mean, it's funny, my best friend, I would put makeup on and she goes, you did something for Instagram or TikTok today? And I'm like, She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's the only reason I put it on. Because your girl is still breaking out in her 20s. I don't know what it is, but here recently, I mean, I do, clearly stressed, but I just started breaking out more. And then I had a makeup that I was using, but it was a little pasty for my summer glow. So, yeah, I don't know. That's where I've been, you guys. I have been going through it. Forgetting that healing is non-linear. That sometimes anxiety will reality check you in the gut. Hard. And that sometimes those little behaviors that are out of the ordinary for someone you love. Sorry, I thought there was a spider. I'm telling you, I've seen spiders all day. Can't handle another one. But that little emotion, that lash out, like that behavior that's not normal for someone that you love, might be their only way to ask you for help. So kindly listen to it. I'm not saying let someone treat you like shit, because I let that man know you don't talk to me like that. But if it's not their norm, something's going on. You know, if someone doesn't normally treat you like that and they treat you like the queen that you are, and then all of a sudden they decide to talk to you in disrespectful tones and stuff, that's not you. That's them going through something. And you need to make sure that you're, for one, making sure that you are safe, but for two, making sure that they're okay. So, again, I'm not saying stay in some toxic relationship, but I'm saying if something is not right and it's not the usual, check into it. That's my big advice. Clearly, I'm just going through it. So if you don't like my advice, like, don't take it. Don't use it. We're here on a healing journey. We're all learning something new. Who knows? Maybe in a year I'll be like, do not accept that shit, girl. Leave. But probably not. Also, a little exciting. I am done with college. Pretty much. I have my student teaching left this fall, and I'll start on Monday, which is August 8th. So, just gave myself away if this is late. But I'll start in August. I'll be done in December, and I'll be done with college forever until I decide to go back for my psychology degree, which I've already decided. But at least I'll take a few months off. But I am almost done. I am there, baby. I did the work, and I got through college. Whoop. That being said, I am student teaching, so this one will be posted. I'm probably not going to be able to do it weekly, because I have not worked since my kids were born, and it's already breaking my heart. Like, I just feel like someone else is raising my kids, like I'm abandoning them, like there's no, like, all the extremes of like, giving them abandonment issues because I've been with them since birth, even though my daughter's going to be starting pre-K and like going half a day anyways, and my son really could use the social interaction, so, because he is a COVID baby. So it's like I'm not actually doing these things to my children. They're going to learn how to cope, and we'll have evenings, so I'll be home by 4. We'll have weekends, all those holiday breaks. But yeah, your girl is almost done. And that also means that I probably won't post weekly. I apologize. And I know what you're like, Maddie, you haven't posted for like 6 months. Right, Lindsay? That's what you're thinking? Fair enough. Like, fair enough, dude. But like, I want to say I'm back. I love recording with you guys. Clearly, I have to learn some social manners. I think I itched my back once and rubbed the sweat in between my thighs. Probably shouldn't have told you guys that, but that's what I was doing because gross and also weird. But yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Bonesy and I want to remind you to get your skeletons out of the closet. Break those generational curses. Cut those cycles. You got this, babes.